The latest iPhone at the greatest price is what Apple claims the iPhone 16e to be. However, look at the comments on my last video, you guys seem to think otherwise. Despite it having great battery life and Apple Intelligence in the action button, you all seem to think that there's better iPhones out there for around $600. And after doing some research and seeing what else is out there, I agree with you guys. Take the iPhone 15 for instance. You can find one of these for $540 on Amazon Renew Premium, which is Amazon's highest tier for used devices, and probably find it even lower in local markets. With the iPhone 15, you're actually getting some upgrades from the iPhone 16e, and one of those being the modem. The iPhone 16e is the first iPhone to feature Apple's in-house modem, the C1 chip, and on paper, this was a really good idea of Apple switching it to their own in-house modems. It saves them a lot of money, especially if they want to move production to the US, and it might be performance-wise about the same as other iPhones out there. In fact, when I tested the Apple iPhone 16e's C1 modem, it was about the same as what my iPhone 15 Pro was getting. However, that doesn't mean that the iPhone 16e's modem is the best. Looking at a post on LinkedIn from Qualcomm's Vice President of Marketing showed a comparison of the Apple C1 chip to other modems that Qualcomm made. And as you can see, there's a pretty big difference when it comes to millimeter wave and all these other different modem features. Which reminds me that the iPhone 16e's C1 chip is still in its early stages, and we aren't really going to know for another year or two if that modem is actually good. And then there's some other upgrades that the iPhone 15 Pro has, like full-on MagSafe compatibility, an ultra-wide camera, the dynamic island, and a higher max brightness in both indoor and outdoor environments. All those features I just listed aren't on the iPhone 16e, which makes the iPhone 15 a better choice for those who want those features. However, if you want Apple Intelligence, the action button, and a 25% increase in battery life, I personally believe the iPhone 16e is the better option here. Personally, in my opinion, I would actually prefer the iPhone 16e in this sense. I like having the action button to quickly access my to-do list. I love having the extra battery life, and the MagSafe compatibility, you can kind of get around that with a MagSafe case. And then Apple Intelligence, like most AI programs, I believe is going to improve over time and actually become pretty good. I remember when ChatGPT first came out, it wouldn't be able to answer a lot of the questions I threw at it very well. But fast forward a few years later, and now it pretty much handles everything I ask it to do perfectly fine and actually goes above and beyond what my expectations are. And I believe Apple Intelligence will eventually get there too, but it's going to be another 2 to 3 years before we really start seeing that. Right now, I use Apple Intelligence to ask simpler questions like concepts on homework assignments and different smaller questions here and there. I will still use ChatGPT Plus most of the time though and have it analyze like certain documents and help me with questions on homework assignments. But one thing I just realized here too, and that's something to know about older iPhones as well, is you don't need an iPhone with Apple Intelligence to access these AI apps. You can still use ChatGPT, Claude, even on an iPhone 15 and Apple's older iPhones like the iPhone 11, for example. But if you want on-device AI processing and all the features that Apple advertises with Apple Intelligence, you are going to need one of those phones that support it. But what if you want it all? What if you want Apple Intelligence, the action button, and all these newer iPhone features? Well, I can tell you this is actually possible if you're willing to stretch out your budget a little bit. If you're willing to stretch out a little bit from the iPhone 16e's price, you can actually get an iPhone 15 Pro for roughly $700 on Amazon Renew Premium and about $620 from regular Amazon Renewed or Walmart that I'll have affiliate links for that support the channel down below. With the iPhone 15 Pro, you're getting all the features of the iPhone 15 and pretty much every feature of the iPhone 16e except for wind reduction in videos, visual intelligence, and a 10% decrease in battery life that you're going to have going over to the 15 Pro. But there is a bunch of added features that the iPhone 15 Pro has as well, like an always-on display with 120 Hz, slimmer bezels, the titanium frame, a 3x telephoto camera, macro video and photo, ProRes video recording, log video recording. So if you're someone who is a techie, the iPhone 15 Pro is the way to go. Now the iPhone 15 Pro does have its downsides. Currently, you can't get the iPhone 15 Pro brand new, which means that you're gonna have to buy it used or at the very least open box, which could mean minor signs of wear and battery degradation. If you want a decent deal while getting it in like new condition, I would say Amazon Renew Premium is currently your best bet. Looking at a lot of the reviews, people said that it was in like new condition with some minor signs of wear for some people, and then the battery health range anywhere between 90 to 100%. But as we're going up this price ladder and we're getting to around the $800 range, you might consider buying a brand new iPhone 16, which means you can get it in brand new condition. It's going to have perfect battery health, no signs of wear whatsoever, and you're going to get the added camera features of the iPhone 16 like camera control. However, I don't think the iPhone 16 is really a good value in my opinion. It doesn't have the 120Hz display of the iPhone 15 Pro, and it is missing out on some other features as well. But I will say though, the color options of the iPhone 16 look really good. But before you buy it though, I'd highly recommend comparing the iPhone 16 to other iPhones on Apple's Compare iPhone Models page. But what if you're in the boat where you just need a newer iPhone to get by with, you don't care about Apple Intelligence, the action button, or all these fancy added features? Well, Apple used to make an iPhone for you guys called the iPhone SE, which would cost around $400 and it would feature all the tech features one would need while lasting them a very long time. But the thing is, Apple stopped making this phone. Currently, the iPhone 16e was supposed to be the replacement for the iPhone SE. However, with the iPhone 16e coming in at $600, it's kind of hard for me to consider this a budget phone. So what would I actually recommend for under $400? My top pick would be the iPhone 13, coming in at about $300 to $380 used. It has all the core features people care about in an iPhone, like a 6.1-inch OLED display, the same display that's on the iPhone 16e, as well as an ultra-wide camera, MagSafe, and decent battery life. Now, I know some of you are wondering, isn't the iPhone 13 too old? And it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. You are likely going to get at least 3 years of the latest iOS update still, and maybe even more than that considering that the iPhone XR is now rumored to get iOS 19. But after those iOS updates, you still have another year or two of App Store updates after that. So realistically, with the iPhone 13, you're going to have like 4 to 6 years of use left out of that iPhone. The only real downsides with the iPhone 13 though is that it has Lightning instead of USB-C, so it kind of feels a little dated in that sense. And with it being an older iPhone, it's likely going to have quite a bit of battery degradation, so you are likely going to need a battery replacement at some point, which is $89 to get it done from Apple. Now, there's certainly a lot of different iPhones out there, and I don't really think there's a right iPhone for everyone. But I will say though, if you're someone who really likes tech features, a used iPhone 15 Pro, I believe, is the way to go. If you want good camera features, a lot of color options, USB-C, the dynamic island, I believe the iPhone 15 is a good option there. If you want new condition, you want Apple Intelligence, you want USB-C charging, the action button, the iPhone 16e is perfect there. If you want a budget phone, the iPhone 13 is the best for that. Well, I hope this video at least clarifies some things for you, and if it did, be sure to leave a like. I will also put a playlist up on screen of reviews of these iPhones for you guys to check out and get more details about these different iPhone models. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.